Hey, what is up, guys? Mr. Bear 38 here, and today I'm bringing you my review of Obi Wan episode 4. This episode was very short. So, we start off with Obi Wan coming in and out of consciousness on the ship. Then they end up landing on a rebel base, moving Obi Wan throughout the base while he's still coming in and out of consciousness. They finally put him in a bacta tank where he heals. His tissue healed very, very fast. I'm surprised. I thought bacta tanks take a bit longer. But whilst in the bacta tank, he's having visions of his battle on the planet with Anakin, and then it flashes to Darth Vader, who seems to be also having these same visions. Then Obi-Wan fully wakes up, jumps out of the bacta tank, and just says, "Where's Leia?" And then she's like, "You can't get out of the bacta tank. You're not fully healed," and he just won't have any of it. Then we go to Reva, who's trying to interrogate Leia, but's getting nothing out of her because she's strong-minded. And then we move back to Obi-Wan again, and he's talking to this guy that I'm assuming is one of the rebel leaders, saying that they can't help Obi-Wan and that he should leave because he's putting them all in danger. And then he instantly changes his mind and says, "I'll help you." Then shows them the Inquisitor hidden base, which was within the Mustafar system, and they say that they have no idea what's in the Inquisitor base because no one's ever entered it or escaped it. Then Obi-Wan says he'll go alone to get Leia back if no one will help him. Then the Imperial officer offers to help due to her faking her Imperial officer role whilst in the Empire. While they're on the ship, Kenobi is trying to use the Force but still very broken with his connection, and the Imperial officer says you need to let go of your past and learn from it. Then they finally land in the Inquisitor base. She's walking through everything like the same entrance she had with Reva before, hands over her cipher to an Imperial officer and says, this isn't your sector, blah blah blah." And then she uses her power to undermine him and say, "Are you having a go at my power?" and all this bullshit, like, you know how all officers use their power to their advantage. Obi-Wan's currently swimming to the base, goes up a air chute hole, and obviously makes a lot of noise to get a stormtrooper to come in. He kills the stormtrooper and throws him in the water, drowning him basically. Then we move back to Reva, who's mind probing Leia. She obviously has no chance of doing it because of how strong she would be in the Force, being Anakin Skywalker's descendant. So she does absolutely nothing. And Leia tries to get her with Lola. I don't know what Leia's plan there was with Lola, but anyway. Then we go back to the fake Imperial officer who walks Obi-Wan through the hallways, which has seeker probes all through it. Then another officer comes up behind her and says, "This isn't your station." Gets taken away for an ID check. She knocks out the other Imperial officer, goes back to help Kenobi, nearly gives away his position through the communicator, and then causes the stormtroopers to look around. He uses the Force to make a noise in the distance, which causes them to run that way. And we're back to Reva again. She's trying to get through Leia with no luck, so she decides to take her to the interrogation room. While she's demanding questions out of Leia, she's like moving the things closer and closer to her to like electrocute her and all that. And Obi-Wan finally reaches the bottom of the base, where it is basically a Jedi tomb. There's just all dead Jedi there. They kept their bodies and just crystallized them. The Jedi you see right now, I believe, is the one that was from the Clone Wars that helped Ahsoka during that one time. And then Obi-Wan hears Leia screaming and says to the officer that he needs a distraction for him to get Leia out. So she calls Reva to the main room to tell her Kenobi's on Florum. And then Reva's just seeing right through it, and the only thing that distracted her was so Obi-Wan got detected by a seeker droid, which ends up setting it off, then tells the stormtroopers to lock up the fake Imperial officer, and she kills them, runs away, reaching Kenobi. Obi-Wan's fighting off the troopers, droids, and then he comes across Purge Trooper, which I'm happy I'm seeing these guys in live action because they were amazing in Jedi Fallen Order. And there was a breakage in the glass from blaster shots. He ends up crushing the glass as they come through the door and flooding them and drowning all the stormtroopers. Then they're walking out of the base, trying to hide Leia in the dumbest way, in my honest opinion, like hiding her under a cloak. How would no one notice? And then Reva comes up behind him saying, "You betrayed us all for an old man and a girl," and then says, "I was never a part of the Empire," and all this stuff. And then the rebels show up in their snow speeders and start blasting them away to get away. And then they finally get on the snow speeder. One's leaving. One's cocky, still shooting at Reva, getting nothing. So he's about to leave and throws a gas cylinder at him, blows him up, kills him. And then it skips to Darth Vader walking through. He's very, very pissed off, starts choking Reva. And then somehow she saves her ass by saying, "I'm tracking them. I'm tracking Obi-Wan." And then she mentions Kenobi, and he said there can be no mistakes. And then we get back to the ship where Kenobi and Leia made it to. The captain says, "Where's Wade?" And they just don't talk. They sit down. So gave the straight indication that Wade's dead. Then the droid flashes red, showing that it has the tracker in it, and then the episode just ends. All in all, guys, I wasn't too much of a fan of this episode. I felt it was very slow, and it only went for 30, like nearly 36 minutes. It was slow, and it was just, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't what I expected, but I give it a 6.5 out of a 10. But until then, guys, I shall see you in the next one. Peace!